Yes, sorry about that. It's because I was supposed to be working tonight out in the mines, but now I'm flying out tomorrow, so yeah, lucky for all. So good evening, my name is Matt Shenton and it's a pleasure to be here tonight. I'd like to talk to you about my experience with the leadership and advocacy within the deaf community, but first I'd like to tell you about myself. I was born with mild hearing loss, and by the time I was 3, I was diagnosed as profoundly deaf. I got my first cochlear implant when I was 7, and then another one when I was 14 years old. My parents were extremely supportive and determined to give me the best chance at language that they could. They spent countless hours sitting with me, practicing my speech, and hundreds of dollars ensuring I was able to go to speech therapy in Perth every fortnight for over 6 years. I grew up on a farm 2 hours east of Perth, just outside a small town called Quirinding. I played a lot of sports in primary school, and I mean a lot. Footy, cricket, tennis, hockey, golf, badminton, swimming, athletics, that's just to name a few. It might have something to do with how competitive I am. I just can't help it. In the later years of high school, I went to Aquinas College, a boarding school in Perth. This is very common if you live out in the country, as there's no year 11 and 12 out in the country. I was still pretty focused on sports, but knew it was pretty important to focus on my education as well. And once I finished school, I applied for an apprenticeship in carpentry. I stayed in the roof carpentry business for 6 years after completing my apprenticeship, and 2 years ago, I made a big career change and went to work for a mining company operating out in the Pilbara as a trade assistant and a rigger. I've been involved with the deaf community since around 2010, but it was primarily in the sports area. I played and represented the WA deaf community in football and cricket, both locally, nationally, and also Australia. In 2017, we were lucky enough to win the Webby Cup in the NCIC tournament over in Melbourne, a great achievement for the WA deaf cricket team. I really enjoyed the camaraderie of playing with the guys, and I was proud to be able to represent the deaf community in this way. Just over 6 months ago, I had an opportunity to be involved in the T20 Deaf Cricket World Cup for Australia in India, but I couldn't go. I had some other pretty important plans around the same time, like my wedding. So yeah, sitting over there is my lovely supportive wife, Sarah. She's training to become an interpreter and also a primary teacher. She's actually responsible for teaching me most of the Auslan I know. That way, that helped me be able to communicate more effectively with my teammates. Yeah, I really wanted to go to India, but I don't think she would be happy. When I was first appointed as captain of the WA Deaf Cricket team for the 2019 NCIC cricket tournament, we already had been training for 3 months. I knew we still had a lot to work out in such a short amount of time if we wanted to be ready by January. We all had full-time jobs, families and other commitments, so it was tricky for all of us to juggle our normal lives plus going to cricket training. To be able to adopt a leadership mentality and really give my all to captaining the team, I really had to reflect on all of the people in my life that had shown leadership and what sort of qualities they held. I had to think about what made them good and how they motivated their players and the tactics they used. There were 2 things I thought that were consistent with every good leader I had known: trust and respect. So that's exactly what I incorporated into my role as a captain. I strongly believe that if you treat your team members equally, no matter what background they had, and with the respect they deserve, they will tend to respond in the same way. By making this an expectation in our team, I was able to observe how well the boys treated each other. They had a mutual appreciation for each other. Over time, this became a strong sense of trust between the boys, a brotherhood. We all had each other's back, and we felt comfortable enough to communicate anything to each other without fear of judgment. Having established this in our team, it made it so much easier for me to honestly offer constructive feedback on and off the field. After a few training sessions, the bonds within the team grew stronger than ever, and we all started to believe in each other as players and in the team as a whole, that we had the ability to win any game, even against the stronger teams. That's when I first learned that if we are able to set up the right kind of environment, every one of us has the capacity to do these amazing, remarkable things. We made it into the grand final of the NCIC this year, and while we didn't win it this time, the mateship and experiences we all had as a team made it worthwhile. Being a leader isn't always the easiest thing. You are put in some tricky situations and have to make some tough decisions that you can't guarantee everyone will be happy with. A lot of the time I had to tell some of my teammates that they wouldn't be playing in that game, but because of the mentality and attitude we all have built within our team, and every single time I had to break the news to one of the guys, they took it really well, holding their heads high and trusting that I had the team's best interest at heart. That made me especially proud to be their captain, so hats off to them. So enough about cricket. I think my wife is happy to hear that, but that's okay. The biggest thing I want to talk to you all about tonight is the mentality of perseverance and drive. While my story involves supportive parents and captaining cricket teams, I'm still deaf. I have faced the same sort of discrimination and barriers that some of you have or will face in your life. I'm 31 years old, so I've been deaf for a long time, and I cannot tell you how important it is that you have the belief in yourself. It is so easy for other people to decide for who you are and what you're capable of, but you cannot allow that to happen. I have never treated myself as someone with a disability. If you're going through a rough patch like I have numerous times throughout my life, please don't be afraid to speak up. The right person will be able to guide you through no matter what. Just remember these two things: trust and respect. Thanks for listening to my speech.